Hello everybody, my name is Sunny Rabbit, and in case you couldn't tell, Warrior Cats has a bit of a nepotism problem. Allow me to explain. Currently, I'm on a Vision of Shadows in my rereading of the Warrior Cat series from the very beginning to the most current book, while also catching the story-important super editions in between. With the help of the wonderfully narrated audiobooks, my journey has been slow but steady, being able to get through about 2 or 3 books over the course of a 4-day time slot. The more I read, the more it becomes very apparent that Thunderclan was given special treatment throughout the series. While in a vacuum, this isn't an issue. There's nothing wrong with the main POV clan being given more unique tasks to push forward the narrative, but as characters grew and started having families, something stuck out like a thorn. Firestar's bloodline, and by extension Thunderclan as a whole, seemed to be given very special attention. I'd like to call this issue Thunderclan Exceptionalism. Spoilers for the A Vision of Shadows series, and minor spoilers for the most recent book, River. Over the course of this series, Firestar has not one, but 2 grandsons become medicine cats, his daughter become a medicine cat, his second daughter become deputy, though I do admit this was out of his control, his grandchildren and great-niece become part of a prophecy that has the forces of StarClan in the Dark Forest involved. The kin of your kin prophecy even had some cats speculating that if they were all born in ThunderClan, that must have meant that ThunderClan alone was meant to survive the doom that was coming. Just to sprinkle on some more love for the clan, the power of 3 prophecy just had to morph into a power of 4 prophecy, with the final cat being involved being none other than Firestar himself. The Sundrown Place prophecy, which had a whopping of 5 of the 6 characters all having ThunderClan blood with the exception of Crowpaw. Then Crowpaw just happened to become mates with Leafpool and Father Lionblaze, Hollyleaf, and Jayfeather. ThunderClan's influence is insane reach. At one time, 3 of the 4 leaders of the main clans had ThunderClan blood, Misty Star being Blue Star's daughter, Tiger Star 2 being the grandson of the more superior Tiger Star, and Bramble Star who's also the son of the more superior Tiger Star. No one leads the other 3 clans quite like a ThunderClan cat. Wind Clan doesn't seem to have this issue weirdly, despite boarding ThunderClan in every book up to this point. Good job, Wind Clan. Gold Star and Xenophobia, I guess. Nepotism runs deep in this series, with cats constantly picking relatives to succeed them or them becoming medicine cats. Misty Star's deputy, Reed Whisker, was her son, Rowan Star's deputy's son was Tigerheart, Bramble Star's deputy was his mate, and Firestar's daughter Squirrelflight, and even now the deputy of Wind Clan, Crowfeather, just so happens to be the son of the former deputy Debfoot, despite the weird timeline issues with that anyways. Gotta keep the power in the family with these guys. I was practically gritting my teeth counting how many cats are related to either Firestar or Tiger Star and ended up in positions of power in their clans. Flametail was a medicine cat, Mothwing was a medicine cat, Shadowsight became a medicine cat, Tigerfart became deputy, then leader. In case you couldn't tell, I do not favor the lesser Tiger Star. He is beneath me. These books have an issue with wanting to have side characters show more personality than a cardboard box. Cats that aren't directly related to main characters get shafted constantly to make room for the latest Firestar 2.0 or Tiger clone. Anyone that doesn't have an inkling of the soul either dies or gets pregnant, but not Barry Nose. Barry Nose is special. This tight circle feels like it decreases the scale of the series. I couldn't tell you the family lines of River Clan or Wind Clan without having to pull up a dozen wiki pages. Who cares about the other dozen cats when so few side characters get a chance to be memorable? Having Firestar's blood as plot armor, making any cat not related to him ultimately disposable or unworthy of an on-screen death unless it's something horrible like Honeyfern or Cinderpelt. Don't get me wrong though, I have no issue with some of the decisions that were made for deputies. Bramblestar picking Squirrelflight because he trusts her and she has experience makes sense. Greystripe being Firestar's best friend being deputy makes sense as it had White Storm's blessing. But after a while, it becomes very tiring trope to see the main characters' families being patched as torch when some of the other characters could have had more screen time to make it feel like it wasn't the only choice. When Dovewing thought Lionblaze might have been picked for Railstar's deputy, I would angrily groan because of course he was an obvious pick. No one else was given such a chance to prove themselves other than StarClan's chosen few. Where are more of our White Storms? Cats who gained the position without needing to travel far and wide or needing a prophecy center around them. White Storm's wisdom, kindness, and love for his clan got him that position, and it felt right. He was constantly shown to be a worthy deputy, giving advice to Firestar and stepping in to help out when Blue Star was having her mental breakdown. Even though it was revealed he was Blue Star's nephew, it can be overlooked as they originally weren't related until Blue Star's prophecy was written. It shouldn't feel like these positions are passed down by blood, but those who are qualified for these positions just so happen to be related to the important characters. With the plot armor I mentioned, main characters don't die, meaning minor characters have to take the fall, leaving the only ones left to lead being relatives of the current leaders, and the cycle continues again and again and again. A Vision of Shadows is by far my favorite series so far, even managing to rival my love for the first series. But then Hawkwing, Twigpaw and Violet Paw's father, is revealed to be the deputy of SkyClan, and then also revealed to be the son of the previous deputy Sharpclaw. Things like this make the positions of power feel unearned sometimes, like the clans are ruled by a specific lineage of cats rather than chosen from their clanmates for being loyal, strong, or a capable leader. That isn't to say some of the deputies or leaders that are related to the previous leaders aren't able, it just cheapens the choice, making it feel more like a monarchy than a chosen rule. To tie this back to Thunderclan exceptionalism, I think this issue stems from the constant point of views that Thunderclan is given early on with the first 4 series. They were constantly given prophecies, quests, powers, or special treatment from StarClan that makes one wonder if the warrior ancestors were even watching over the other 4 clans. While I don't doubt that the POV doesn't show the omens that other clans get, it's strange that we don't hear about other clans having cats journey beyond the territories because StarClan sent them on a task. Though I don't expect other clans to divulge their secrets with the others, where are the River Clan or Wind Clan apprentices getting signs to travel to save the clans? Not that I want another traveling book, of course. The constant insight into only ThunderClan leaves us lacking in cats and other clans to get to know outside of the ones that go on quests with the current protagonist. It also doesn't help that when we do get a POV change for a cat in another clan, it's usually a sign that they're about to die, a la Feathertail and Flametail. On the rare occasions we do see other clans getting an omen or a sign, usually it's when ThunderClan has to intervene, as was the case with Leafpool needing to relay a sign to Mothwing on StarClan's behalf in the new prophecy, or Mothwing coming to Jayfeather to help interpret the Flaming Reed sign and Omen of the Stars. But I suppose the only way to see that would have been for Dovewing to hear the other clans receive a prophecy, or for Jayfeather to walk in someone's dreams, which would only exacerbate the problem. The only times I can think of another clan coming to ThunderClan's rescue was when the Badgers attacked their camp and when Wind Clan attacked them during the Great Battle. I don't particularly count River Clan sheltering ThunderClan after the fire in Series 1, as Leopard wanted repayment in the form of changing the borders to making Sunning Rock's River Clan land. Even those saves by the other clans pale in comparison to Firestar having to restore Sky Clan, bring back Wind Clan, save the River Clan kids from drowning, Bramblestar having to help Shadow Clan, twice, in the same book, then adding a new rule to the Warrior Code about helping other clans in times of crisis. Also, that Super Edition prophecy was terrible, but I'll save that rant for another time. It's no wonder other clans complain about ThunderClan always being involved in everyone's business. All clans are equal, but some just happen to be more equal than others. What I'm getting at is just how much attention ThunderClan was given. It makes the narrative seem so tightly focused that the other clans only exist to cause problems for them. I managed to save my worst judgment for A Vision of Shadows until I was finished with it, but Firestar's grandson, a traveling book, SkyClan rescue mission definitely made me skeptical of the first book. Though I understand the context for why ThunderClan is so stable, ShadowClan is a complete mess with dodgy leadership, Wind Clan making dubious decisions because of 1 star, River Clan's reliance on the lake and river for food and shelter means they're more susceptible to natural disasters than the other clans. ThunderClan is sheltered, has strong leadership, and rarely faces issues due to the lack of 2 legs nearby. It's a politically stable environment with the worst issues they have being prophecies, water skirmishes, and other clans not liking their affinity for kitty pets, and their camp being a complete OSHA violation. While things out of their control can cause strife, ThunderClan comes out relatively okay most of the time. They sheltered 3 out of 5 clans and didn't lose a single cat in the battle with the kin. It's a pretty solid clan overall. Don't worry, I'll reserve my feelings on ThunderClan's seeming invisibility for now. The Broken Code is coming up fast on my to-read list, and a Starless Clan shortly after. My feelings are bound to change once I hit those books. A Vision of Shadows proved how strong having characters in other clans is to the narrative, not needing to have information relayed to us after disasters happen, told secondhand by others. The overall lack of padding out the story, Warriors finally untethering from the need for ThunderClan to be glued to the weekly destruction, as Violet Paw was front and center in the fray. Darktail being 1 star's son didn't even bother me. The reveal was so thoroughly earned it felt like something out of the first series. The build-up of the threat and the execution of the plot, the politics around the 4 clans, just mwah! It's like breathing in a clean breeze of gold after trudging through the same muck for 3 weeks. Book 3 of A Vision of Shadows knocked it out of the park. It stands as my favorite book in the entire Warrior Cat series so far. The later books didn't keep up the same momentum as the first half did though. SkyClan's return, leaving and then returning again didn't have the same punchiness as the kin had. Twig Branch's arc toward its end bogged down some of the rising tension, and Finley begging for children made the last book feel gross, but that's a conversation for another day. Leafstar is an extremely patient leader and had to put up with so much of the garbage from the other clans. I sympathize with her completely. SkyClan's return is very much a good change for some of the more monotonous aspects of warriors, but they have every right to go back to the Gorge since all the other clans just have to dump their baggage on the new guys. That's all I really have to say about this right now. I've seen others discussing warrior cats having a bit of a nepotism problem, and I thought I'd throw my hat into the proverbial ring. If you agree or disagree, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm working on my review for the opinions on the whole series once I manage to get up to the current book, so be on the lookout for that. There could also be a review of Bramblestar Storm, but I'll have to think about it because you don't want to hear me talk about Bramblestar Storm, because hoo boy, that one's a doozy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.